Good morning, everybody. Do me a favor, invite somebody, share. We are live, Coffee Time Live. I need you to do me a favor. Invite somebody, share. Tell them we're on. We're going to be talking about God has your back. Trust him. So invite somebody, and I'll be back right after this.
Coffee time. Yeah, this ain't your average cup of joe. Listen, I need it in the morning, I need it at night. He always keeps it brewing, he always keeps it tight. Just a little sip, it'll get you right. Terrence Pickett always be the one that gets the coffee right. The coffee's right, the coffee's right in my life. It's never a wrong time or a crime to get what's yours and to get what's mine. Come on. Coffee time in my life. Coffee time feels so right. I need a little sugar, put it in my cup. Can you stir it, Terrence? Let me know what's up. And at the end of the show, you can brew another pot. Just make sure you make it hot. Come on. Time in my life. Coffee time feels so right. I need a little sugar, put it in my cup. Can you stir it, Terrence? Let me know what's up. And at the end of the show, you can brew another pot. Just make sure you make it hot. Come on.
And good morning, everybody, and to everybody, a good morning. Do me a favor, invite somebody, share. We are live. We're going to be on Facebook just for a second, just enough to kind of get the word out to tell people to come to YouTube. A lot of people say hey, we're not getting your notifications. We're not getting this. We're not getting that. Well, you're not getting a notification because we're no longer on Facebook. We do pop in every now. And then just to let everybody know, we've moved to YouTube. But outside of that, we're not on Facebook. God has your back. Trust him. That's what we're going to be talking about today. First and foremost, how is everybody doing? DeJuan McIntyre, how are you? How are you this morning, DeJuan? Good morning for everybody that is tuning in. Good morning, and good morning to you again. Good morning. You will not be able to see the entire thing on Facebook. However, you'll be able to see a portion of it. Good morning, everybody. Remember, we're on YouTube. Do me a favor, invite somebody, share. This morning we're talking about God has your back. Trust him. That is so difficult at times, if we're honest. Nicole asks, good morning. For those of you that are signed in through YouTube, thank you. For those of you that are on Facebook, thank you for joining in as well. You will not be able to get the entire episode through Facebook, only just the preview, just the beginning, because we are on YouTube. So you can stay on Facebook as long as you like. But just know if you want to see the conclusion of the whole matter, to go to YouTube. Good morning, everybody. And I've got to give a shout out to our sponsors, Fearless Girls. You see it right there. Fearless Girls. Fearless Girls is not just a group. It's a movement for those of you that need empowerment. There's great teaching, great inspiration, great information. And Fearless Girls have a trip that is coming up here soon. It's going to be a Fearless Girls Getaway North, July the 23rd through the 27th. Go to the Fearless Girls Facebook page, like their page, follow them. And if you'd like to be a part of that trip, hit them up on Facebook, and they will send you the information. Make sure you go to their inbox. So God has your back. You know, it doesn't seem like it sometimes. If we're being honest, you know, it's a cute title, but it doesn't seem like it sometimes, because there are so many things that I believe that we have not been taught. We don't have the understanding to. And then we're still trying to understand this God who has created us. We're still trying to figure out not only who he is, but his methodology, his method of working in the earth. Good morning, Rhonda Oliver. Good morning. So it becomes increasingly confusing at times to understand this God who seemingly moves when he gets ready. And we're taught that, hey, whenever God's not working on something, he's working on you for something. And it's so true. But why is it so hard for us to understand God's got us? Well, here are a couple of reasons. Number one, we're not taught, neither are we raised to trust ourselves. We're taught to look for confirmation. We're taught to second guess, make sure. And there's a difference between double checking to ensure there are no errors and double checking because you don't trust. So a lot of times we're double checking because we have a trust problem. And one of the reasons we have a trust problem is there are a lot of things that have happened in the earth. There are a lot of things that have occurred or happened to us in the earth. And as a result of that, we tend to trust or not trust people based on previous experiences. Well, not just that. We know we've not been faithful. We know we haven't been honest. And whenever we haven't been honest, we haven't been faithful, we tend to think out of the soul of experiences that we've created in it for ourselves. So when I know I'm not trustworthy, it's going to be hard for me to trust you. Now you add with that, I'm not trustworthy, and then I keep running into people that I cannot trust. Those things compiled together. Now it messes with the entire ecosystem of my trust. So because now I don't trust people and I don't trust myself, I measure God through the mindset that I've developed in the earth. Megan Holmes, good morning. So one of the things that we have to do if we're going to truly trust God with our life, with who we are, with what we're believing for, is that we have to detach ourselves. We have to detach ourselves and our experiences with others as it relates to our experience with God. I believe you should be able to trust someone based on their track record. A person's past tells you who they are in the present and tells you what you have to look forward to in the future. When you judge God's past, he's never failed you. People have. But God's never failed you. So everything that God has promised he's going to do for you, he's going to do it. The problem with trusting him is, again, we don't trust ourselves. We don't trust other people. So it becomes hard or challenging to trust this God who've made these promises. So there are a couple of things that we can do to get back to a place of trusting him. Number one, we have to start being faithful people. We have to start keeping our word. We have to start keeping our word. Everything that we've said. You know, there's some promises that I made in the past that I haven't carried out. I said I was going to do some stuff that I haven't done yet. And it's important that when you put your word out that you're going to do it, go ahead and do it right then. Don't wait. Too much happens in life. Too many things can occur. Too many things does occur for us to try to be running down our word based on the things that we said we would do. When you say you're going to do something, I believe that there's a window of opportunity that is available for you to get it done. Very seldom is it not. And if the window is not open to get it done, that means you've overextended yourself. And because you've overextended yourself, you're not going to get it done. So what we have to do is we've got to start checking ourselves. holding ourselves accountable to make sure that we are doing the things that we have said. Now, when we know we've done what we said, it builds self-confidence. Isn't it amazing how all liars hang together? Isn't that amazing? Isn't it amazing that people of the same trade, same occupation, same mindset find each other? Isn't that amazing? Because we do attract to some degree who we are. We attract who we are. So if you're going to attract better people, because character, your personality and your character has a magnetic force. You can attract people based on who you are. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean just because you attracted a liar that you're a liar, because Jesus attracted everybody. But he had something inside of him that everybody needed. I'm saying when you can look at your circle, then you look at yourself and you begin to govern your behavior. If you see in your circle what you see in yourself and it's not good, there is a possibility that you open the door to attract you. And I'm careful how I say this. But when you've been faithful, when you've kept your word, when you've done what you said you're going to do, you become more trusting because you know you fulfill your obligation. But when you don't keep your word, you don't think anybody's going to keep their word. I'm going to say that again. When you don't keep your word, you don't think anybody's going to keep their word. So our ability to keep our word builds self-trust. And when we build self-trust, hear me and hear me good here, that trust that we've built walks in harmony with how we believe, faith. So now faith has the right foundation to build because you're building on truth, and that truth is trust within yourself. So if there are no holes in yourself, there's no holes in your faith, then it becomes easier to trust God and trust people because you've sealed the holes of inconsistency in yourself. In Hebrews chapter 11, it says that if any man comes to God, he must believe that he is. That man, any man comes to God, that man must believe that God is. One of the reasons we don't believe that God is because we measure it by who we are. And it's an unfair comparison because he's much more. But to everything, there are stages. In order for me to shake your hand, I have to start making steps towards you. I have to extend my hand. Well, in making the steps towards God, in making steps towards the direction of God, I have to first take the step. Well, the step of faith, the step in believing that he is I must believe that I am. But if I've been inconsistent, if I've procrastinated, if I've been untruthful, there is no belief in me. So the first step to him is I must believe that he is. But if I don't believe in me, I'm definitely not going to believe in him. It's worth thinking about this morning. Andrea Mitchell, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Glad you're here. So We have to seal the inconsistencies in our life, because sealing those inconsistencies and becoming more constant in walking in truth, keeping our word, we build the hope and foundation of trust within ourselves. And when I believe in me, it becomes easier to believe in you, and it becomes easier to believe in God. That's something to think about. So if it becomes easier by me settling the debt of inconsistencies in me, then I have to take a proactive response, not only in keeping my word, but now walking in truth. We say so many things that are untrue. We disguise it sometimes through kidding. We watch make-believe TV. We watch fake news. We wear fake hair. There are so many things, and I don't mean to be facetious, but it's kind of cute, but funny, but at the same time, it's true. There's nothing that we can grab that is real. So we begin to live this life of fantasy, and we train our soul to embrace what's not real. Now we have to jump hurdles over what's fake, over what's inconsistent, to try and grasp consistency of truth. It's not a part of your soul. It's not a part of who you are. So because it's not a part of your soul and it's not a part of who you are, it becomes increasingly challenging to believe what's not in you. So you got to start working on your bowels of truth. You've got to start working on your consistency of truth. You got to keep your word. Camille Mendez, good morning. Good to see you. You got to keep your word. Well, how do we do that? How do we keep our word? I was wondering why my sound effects wasn't working. How do we keep our word? We've got to stop over-promising and under-delivering. You know, I'm going back. I'm going back to some things that I said I was going to do that I never got around to, and I'm cleaning that stuff up as much as I can. Some stuff they're just going to have to forgive me on, but some of this stuff I can fix, because this is the process of consistency that I have to develop in order to be consistent. We don't trust people because we don't trust ourselves. Because we don't trust ourselves, we don't trust God. So you got to start being consistent with you. How many times have you promised yourself you weren't going to do something again, and you did it? You begin to move out of impulse. Sometimes we move out of pride. Sometimes we move because we are remorseful, or we have this soulless sorry that we've extended to somebody. And as a result of that, we're responding to our emotions in regards to certain people, certain situations, and we make unwise decisions. You know, before you help somebody, you got to ask yourself, now, how did you get here? Sometimes helping someone is hurting them because you don't know how they got to where they are. A lot of people are struggling because that's where God has them, and you interfering in their struggle, you're interfering in God's work, God's business, and his plan for their life. So sometimes helping can become hurting, but you don't know that when you can't trust yourself. So there is a system of truth that is operating in you, system of truth that should be operating in you. And if that truth is operating in you, it keeps you from being deceived with the things that are around you that look truth and that are not, that look true and are not. So if I'm going to discern what's true, I have to be walking in truth. The reason we're tricked, the reason we're deceived is that we're trying to measure truth with unfaithful, scaly, wavering, and inconsistent eyes. So, because we haven't been consistent in truth, because we haven't been consistent in keeping our word, because we've been procrastinators, because we give our word all the time and we don't fulfill the promises that we give, we train our soul to move away from truth and we move over into what's untrue. You train your soul how to be slothful. So now when it becomes time for you to scale, should I help this person? Should I not? Is this person telling me the truth? Are they not? I need to know who this person is and who they are not. When it comes time for you to scale that level of truth, you can't pull on it because it's no longer in you. Now, let me tell you something else that distorts truth in you. Your inability to walk in love towards your enemies. The book of James says, without faith, it's impossible. No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking Hebrews. The book of James says, without love, you can't move and operate in faith. It says faith works by love. So the triggering point for you to be able to believe and release trust is predicated on how well you've loved others who've done you wrong. How well you love others who are not right. Now, a lot of people believe that love means communion. It doesn't. It doesn't. Love doesn't mean fellowship. Love means that I'm able to pray for you. I'm able to see you through the lens of what the word says and not through the scope of my emotions. So if I'm going to have faith, faith worketh by love. So love dismisses and keeps no record of wrong. I'm talking good whether y'all want to hear it or not. Love doesn't keep any record of wrong. Love releases. Love does not behave itself unseen. Love ain't going to show out on nobody because of what they did to you. So if my foundation of love is correct, my faith starts to work. When my faith is working, truth is saturated and I'm able to discern better. All of us talking about we have discernment, and our discernment has been tainted. Because we're no longer walking in truth. So when discernment has been tainted because of our inability to be consistent, we taint the truth of our soul and it becomes shady, cloudy, muddy, and we can't see clearly. That is when deception is formed. So now you want to trust God and believe God for something, and you wonder why it's a struggle, because truth is not in you. Here's another scripture. 1 John says this. If any man says he loves God whom he never seen, and his brother that he sees on a consistent basis and he doesn't love him, the word says that you are a lie and the truth is not in you. So if the truth is not in you because you're not walking in love, what's there? If you're not walking in truth, you're walking in a lie. So because you don't love, The soul is being trained to lie. Now you're in a position where you're calling right, wrong, wrong, right. Your whole decision-making system has been thrown off because of the component of love. Pickett, they wanted something a little more hype for Friday. They didn't want to have to look at themselves. Yeah, I know, but we're not going to be better unless we see us. The whole essence of empowerment begins with the scope of truth. If there is no truth, you cannot be empowered. So what happens is we're empowered by the lie, by deception, because we believe we're more than what we are and we're less because we're not calculating and walking in the right principle. So somebody got to be the bad guy and point this stuff out. Now, the topic is God has your back and truth. And I did it backwards. Here's why I did it backwards. God will never do anything to harm you. I'm going to say it again. God will never do anything to harm you. God will never do anything to harm you. In order for God to ensure his promises for you, he has to remind you not only who he is, but who you are. Hebrews 11, if any man comes to God, he must believe, that man must believe, that woman must believe that God is, and he is a rewarder of them. It's segregating here. That's not for everybody. He's a rewarder of those, of them that diligently seek him. It's in seeking him that the reward is given. That is not for everybody. You can quote it all you want. It's not for everybody. It's only for those that are seeking him. Here's the deal. Those that are seeking him are seeking truth. And when they find out that, hey, I've been wrong. Hey, I've been doing the wrong thing. I thought I was right, but I'm wrong. When truth finally comes, they embrace it. They don't run from it. They don't make excuses. They say, here I am. That's what I was. Thank you for telling me the truth. I can now do better because I see better, because I know better. They embrace it. They repent. And that's who the reward goes to. The reward doesn't go to the pride or the arrogant. Now, let me tell you how pride and arrogance hide. Anytime you can point the finger and figure out what's wrong with somebody else without considering yourself, you're arrogant. You're exalting your opinion above that person when you don't even know all of the things that are going on in them. Listen, there are some people that are walking in pride, but they're also walking in grace, because life is progressive. We get better in time, and they're not who they used to be, even though they're not where they're going to be. They've made some level of progress, but you on the outside looking in, you see the pride in them. You don't think God's going to bless them, so you exalt your opinion above the process that God has them on. And when you exalt your opinion above God's process, you're exalting yourself above God. Leave people alone. Stay out of it. I don't have time to measure where a person is and where they are not. Now, things that people say have to be judged. You can't release something and you have a global platform. You can't say things to people and have people's mind believing that it's this and that it's that. So there are challenges, and there are people that God has in place to challenge what's being said. That's not everybody. Leave people alone. Spend that time working on you. Around here acting like your stuff don't stink. Leave people. If you leave people alone, when you hear what's happening to people, if you give them mercy, if you give them grace, not only are you adding mercy and grace to your account, but it keeps you focusing on what you are not instead of what they are. And this gives you the opportunity to become better in truth. I feel this morning, that so many decisions that we're making are cloudy, not because we're immature, But because we've not mastered love, we're consistent at judging folk. We're consistent at looking at somebody, they ain't right, and I'm so sick of this, and we're consistent at that. How many times when you hear things happen, does your heart weep? How many times are you weeping over what happened to others? When Saul fell in arrogance, when Saul fell and God rejected him, God had to wake Samuel from up out of a stooped place of depression because he grieved the fall of Saul so much until God had to go to him and say, hey, how long are you going to grieve over what I've rejected? Because mercy cries out when we see other people wrong, not judgment, not if. The foundation of what you're building is love. Love requires mercy. I'm going to say it again. Love requires mercy. You can't tell me you're walking in love and there's no mercy. Love requires grace. Love keeps no record of wrong. Love does not behave itself unseemingly. Love is not puffed up. Love doesn't brag about what it is and what you are not. That's not love. Love looks at a person that is wrong and grieves and begins to pray so they can become right. Why? Because love is always looking out for the best interests of somebody else. Now, some people get it wrong because they're immature. They don't know any better. You can't do better when you don't know better. My people perish because of they don't know, lack of knowledge. But some of us are so haughty in our opinion, we built a catalyst, we built a base of judgment, and it hides in our soul, and we think we're right. You're wrong. You spend too much time talking about other people. How much time in a day do you spend criticizing others? All right. Measure that against how many times you spend in a day praying and asking God for mercy for others. When you're scaling these two, what wins? Here's why. Here's why we judge others. We judge others because we don't trust ourselves. When you begin to trust you give mercy to others. Every day this week, I've had meetings, and one thing has been consistent in these meetings. And I'm using this to make a point. Everybody, about 8 people that I've met with this week, all of them had there's a conversation that kept coming up. And this is what it was. They said, Pickett, I was afraid to talk to you because at times you seem so unapproachable. Now, there's 2 sides of this coin. One side of the coin, what is it about me that people don't feel that I'm approachable? Well, to measure it, there are 2 things that I have to consider. Have I been haughty? Where did they meet me? What environment did they meet me in? How do they know me? Where did they get to know me at? Because if they got to know me, listen to this, if they got to know me in an environment where I could not be me, they could not see much, and what I was giving off in that moment and in that place and in that space and in that time could have suggested, don't come up on me. I can't deny it. I've got to look at it. I've got to inspect it. It could be that they were judging me through the lens of their own insecurity, and it could be a combination of both. Here is the reality. Here's the reality. I still have to look at it to make sure that I am judging myself so I don't have to be judged. The Bible says if you judge yourself, God won't judge you. Well, you can't judge yourself if you're not looking at yourself, if you're not checking things off. All of these things help you walk in truth. There have been moments when I have been haughty. There have been moments when I thought, I'm too good for this. I have no business here. Why am I here? There have been moments when I've said the wrong thing, did the wrong thing. Well, because I know that there are moments when I've done that, it becomes equally important for me to look at me. Listen to this. Listen to this. Based on where you met me determines how you know me. Now, you met me when I was clowning on radio. You met me, I was clowning in person. You met me at one of the train shows when I'm opening and I'm clowning and I'm friendly. You would totally detest the ideology that I'm arrogant. But if you met me in the bank when I was running banks, you met me at work, you would totally believe this boy here is a mess. And it was because of the environment. So if you're going to judge who a person is, first judge the environment where you meet them, and how you're introduced to them paints the image that you have of them. Now, if you met me at a strip club, Club Rolex in Miami, you wouldn't know whether I was good or bad. Yeah, I went there a few times. I was young. I don't even think I was 21. They shouldn't even let me in, but I knew somebody. I think I went there 2 or 3 times. I decided strip clubs wasn't my thing. There's too much going on in there. I went in there the first time. I'm like, don't none of y'all have, oh my God, what are your clothes? I was green church boy, and I'm sitting in Club Rolex. I could have been 18 or 19. And I'm like, oh my God, this is too, oh, look at the daughters of Zion. Sweetheart, where are your shorts? Oh no, don't take that off. No, I don't want you dancing on my lap. No. My point in saying where you meet a person determines how you see them. If you've never met them, you're left to the narrative that you've painted in your head about them. It doesn't mean it's true or not, but you're bound by that narrative. And I remember one time, I remember one time we had a concert at Cathedral of Faith. I was in a singing group, and on our way to the concert, you know, the guys that sang with me, 2 of them sang with me, and 2 of them were musicians. We were riding together. We were bros. We were hanging out. And oh my God, I am sitting in the car, and they began to pass this little white clip. And all of them began to take a, and I'm thinking to myself, y'all, and I said it. I said, so we're going to do this before we sing Zion songs. You can't wait till we get through doing gut. And I'll never forget one of them telling me, this is going to help you sing Zion songs. It's going to help you. And I took a puff of that, and I was out my mind. They say I jumped around and I sang and sang. They thought I was in revival. And people was talking about how anointed I was. I don't know. I do know I was high. Whew. I do remember saying, I see men as trees. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if you met me that night, oh, you thought I was an evangelist, a prophet, and a reverend. I ran around the church. I was squalling at people and pointing people out, telling them, God's going to do it. I don't remember any of it. I only have to believe the report that was told to me, but I do remember I was high. I was high. And I'm not saying God can't use you and anoint you when you're high. I'm just telling you I was high. I never did that again. I didn't. That scared me. The point of the matter is, you can never think too much of yourself that you can't examine you to make sure. Listen to this, and I'm closing with this. 12 men that walked with Jesus, all of them were apostles. All of them. And Jesus says, he makes this statement at the table, the Last Supper. He says, one of you are going to betray me. Out of 12 men, not one of them say, oh, I know who it is. It's going to be John Quill. I promise you. It's going to be John Quill. No, it's going to be Michelle. Michelle Buckley. No, it's going to be Rhonda Oliver. Not one of them called somebody else because not one of them was examining anybody else. All of them said the same thing, almost in concert. Lord, is it I? Because all of them recognize how frail human flesh really is. All of them recognize that there are propensities in my flesh that sometimes I cannot control. All of them recognize even I have a weakness. He could be talking about me. So they didn't look at each other. They were looking at themselves. Listen, God has your back, but you would never know it until you position your heart and your mind to walk in truth. Walking in truth requires you to look at you and you only. If you got more time to judge other people and say what they are not, that means that's less time that you're doing maintenance on your own soul. If you judge me because I was in the strip club, that says right there, something wrong. Because some of you, I think I saw a few. No, I'm just kidding. I was in Miami, but I was living in Miami at the time. But I think maybe you had not have been there with me. If you went there in the mind, same sin, you got to examine yourself. All right. I know this was pretty heavy. Anytime we've got to look at ourselves, it's heavy. Here's what I need you to do this morning. I need you to sow in what we do. I'm not going to tell you what to sow. I wish that you would sow about 1 million, few thousand. I do. It helps us do this. This is needed. It's too much fluff out here. There are too many voices in the earth that want to encourage you without challenging you, without giving a mirror to you. We need a balance of both. When you give to Coffee Time, you help us expand what we're doing and you help pay the bills. We do have bills. The studio ain't free. These lights, cameras, microphones, system, it's not free. There are monthly maintenance that we have to pay so that we can give you the best quality show that we can. You got to pay for this steam coming off this coffee. You see it? Don't do that. We want it to be nice. We want to move in excellence because that's God's first choice. And it gives us the ability to reach further. So I need you to sow into Coffee Time. The Cash App is on the screen. Remember, without your ears, I don't have a voice. You make this possible. We're in this together, and I'm so glad God has called us to do life together. I don't have a voice if I don't have your ear. You make this possible, straight up. Remember, you were born to win, predestined to succeed. There's nothing that can happen to you today that the wisdom on the inside of you is not able to handle. You've got to calm down, slow down, be quiet. Make sure love is the foundation in which you build. And perfect love casts out fear. And let wisdom speak. When wisdom speak, you will always win. You all go have a great day. Be productive. Love somebody. Challenge yourself. Make sure you give. Thanks to our sponsors, Fearless Girls. Go like their page. Follow what they're doing. As I said in the beginning of the show, there's a trip that they're planning. You need to be a part of that. Reach out to them for more information. And always remember to think higher, speak life. Have a great day. See you next time.
Coffee time, coffee time. Yeah, this ain't your average cup of joe. Listen, I need it in the morning, I need it at night. He always keeps it brewing, he always keeps it tight. Just a little sip, it'll get you right. Terrence Pickett always be the one that gets the coffee right. The coffee's right, the coffee's right. In my life, it's never a wrong time or a crime to get what's yours and to get what's mine. Come on. Coffee time, coffee time. In my life, coffee time, coffee time. Feels so right. I need a little sugar, put it in my cup. Can you serve it, Terrence? Let me know what's up. And at the end of the show, you can brew another pot. Just make sure you make it hot. Come on.